What is up, everybody, and welcome to my review of Gambonanza, a chess-built gambling roguelike with elements definitely inspired by Balatro and like Rent Lord and other games. You can tell I have sped up the footage for this first part because my video was not really processed well. You can still see kind of what's going on. Like, you get your different pieces by gambling, well, not gambling necessarily, but random chance, and you add them to your board. You buy upgrades for your board, you buy buffs for all your pieces, and there's the rotating shop. Right here, I just want a king, and the king, it's not as good as like the pawn, for which a pawn build was what I was going for during this. I have sunk a few hours into this, and my favorite build is the pawn build, but that's almost like saying my favorite hand to play in Balatro is the one hand or the Pluto. And like I said, you get to gamble, and there's a lot of different references and things. Like that was the Master Sword from Legend of Zelda. I didn't pick that one, however. And here's the first boss fight. The boss fights will change different things depending on what's going on. Spectre of the Lost Game. This is one of my favorite bosses. I keep it in the video a couple of times here. And he will make sure you can't use your stock during the battle. So like if I had any chess pieces in the left, I can't use them anymore, which is a pretty effective way of keeping them down. And that rook back there has a red skull on it. Can't attack it unless all of its minions are down. Now, promotion happens with I have a buff during this fight where I can promote a pawn just by waiting my turn. And promotion is really cool. You get your pawn to the other side, or like I said, you get that buff, and it will make it to where you can change your pawn into one of the other pieces, just like in chess. Right, I've sped it back up now again because most of the battles leading up to the boss they're unique enough to leave in, but some of them just do get monotonous, especially after you die, and that's kind of just how the game goes, I suppose. But it's like the same old, essentially. And here's me checking out the buffs, getting new pieces, something you'll get very acquainted with while playing. I am really enjoying this game thus far. I haven't played that much, but I've played enough, I think. It's not out yet on Steam. The demo is. I have it wishlisted. The demo, it says, it came out. Let's see. I need to look this up. It looks like it came out in this year during early February, and I'm not sure if it has. It comes out on May 1st. It's able to be wishlisted on Steam right now, but it comes out on May 1st. And I'm really excited for it. It's already on my wish list. It's kind of won my heart. It's just different enough from Balatro to be its own thing, but it's similar enough to be like that same addictive, replayable roguelike just awesomeness that Balatro captured, especially for me, and I think a lot of the audience that plays Balatro. And here coming up will be the next boss fight. The boss fights in this game are wildly enjoyable, especially there's one that is a reference to Magnus Carlsen, which you'll see later in the video. I don't know if if this is a reference or the last one was a reference. If you know, please let me know down in the comments. But like this one, really cool. Tal the Accursed, the fallen prodigy, curses tiles which will turn your pieces into pawns, which you'll see will not affect one of my pieces later because it already is a pawn. And that's just like a really cool effect. Is that you get the different things that happen, the roguelike aspects, of course. And I'm absolutely destroying his front line because he has no way of attacking me since I was using that rook until, of course, I got my rook taken by his rook. But I'm leading that rook that has the trap in front of it too, so now it's trapped, in which case it skipped over it, right? But my queen took it. And then I also have a piece on the board because one of the buffs is you can change the squares on the board, and I've got one that gives me like a spirit version of my pieces when they land on it, and that's for like one round only, but you get like you can get multiple of them, right? And the whole goal is to build up money and defeat more like the different difficulties on Balatro, right? And the queen obviously is one of the best pieces, just as it is in regular chess, I suppose. But as you can see right here, I'm kind of like running out of ideas of what to do, unfortunately. And so the longer you play, the pieces of the board fall off. Now, I did unfortunately lose because I was running out of things that I could see to do. And you see, it tells you what like round you were on, how many games you played, that. Now, this is the second run. I skipped to like just to the boss fight because the first 5 fights were already covered in the beginning, and like it's the same first 5 each time to my knowledge, at least from what I noticed. It could be different. I didn't recognize it, and I got the same boss. And I'm not sure if the boss has changed, but as you can see, I've got that little gold square there. That gold square, you turn your piece into a gold, and it's kind of like having a gold card in Balatro as well. Now you see I sacrificed the rook there. This is not a chess tutorial. I'm not great at chess, I won't lie. But this is exemplifying the roguelike nature of this game, which, phenomenal game so far, I'll say. Like, I'm really enjoying it. As you can see, I got a buff for my pawns that makes them able to move like knights, which is really nice. And I just threw one away, kinda, but the AI is not super great, which I understand. I wouldn't want to be playing against a Grandmaster AI, but that was kind of a finicky thing there that I was able to like convince it to go in front of me in 3 moves. And here we're going to speed up through the next set of fights just until we get to the next boss fight. You can see me purchasing different pieces, different buffs. Here are different space tokens, which is playing Plinko, which I think is really neat. And the board expands, right? You start out with only being able to use 3 pieces. Then you buy board expansions for yourself to upgrade how many pieces you can have on board. And I think that's a really cool way of doing it. And as you saw, pieces fall through, and your buffs are on the right, money in the top right, and you can buy different amounts of pieces when you're buying them. And I also think that that is really cool, right? And the king, if you lose your king, you don't lose, which is interesting, because I would think that a chess roguelike would have you protecting a king in roguelike scenarios, but also it's kind of refreshing that that's not the way that it is, if that makes sense. Now, the pawns I think are not overpowered, but they're my favorite to play as I said earlier, and I'm laying out a whole bunch of pawns here, and the knight movement really makes them quite good. They're efficient at what they do, and you can get a queen in like 3 turns, if even, right? So I think that's the strat, but that is up to interpretation, of course. Just like in Balatro, how there's different ways that you can beat the game: quicker, slower. You just saw I bought a gambit, which is their version of like jokers. They're the game-changing things, I suppose I'd call them, even though some of them really don't change that much depending on what you're focusing on. Because like Night build, Night build has a couple of gambits, and I didn't do a Night build. I haven't yet, but I was really like trying to throw those at me when I was running with pawns. Now here's another boss. This is Magnus Carlsen.exe. This one's the reference to Grandmaster chess player Magnus Carlsen, of course. And I did expect it to be a little bit harder, but this boss fight is really fun. His gimmick is that he shuffles your pieces, and there's a blind in Balatro that does that same thing, but I can't remember what it's called. Right, and for some reason I got like right into playing, but as you can see, the shuffle really didn't do that much. It kind of just put a knight on the board and got rid of one of my pawns. But like second turn, I was able to promote to a queen, but it got taken, of course, by the rook that I negligently let slide there. But this boss fight was really cool, and it's a really great design. I love the art style, and unfortunately I don't have it, but the music also really good, I think. um, I'd say check it out for yourself, especially if music is a big part of games to you, which I think it should be for everybody. But as you can see, I got a queen in the back lines there, and he's kind of done for as soon as that happens, right? Like, he may have captured and gotten a queen of his own, but it's kind of over for him, especially since the AI is not that great. But it's good enough, I'd say. Like, I really enjoy the game. And as you can see, he took my last pawn, but I take him out to be a king right there. And I'm left with that one pawn that I upgraded at the beginning. Like, that's what I like about this game, is that sometimes you're kind of just stuck with what you started with here. Now, like, kind of different from Balatro, how, like, with their hands and such. Like, you can get a blind that disables your hands, but this one, like, you are stuck with the pieces that you get, and if a piece is eliminated, you're done. You can't get that again until you buy it at the shop again. It's not going to appear back in your set. It's like kind of like deleting a card, I guess. And now this one, you can see not a boss, but it's got like the boss skull on the queen back there. This is, unfortunately, I believe, the one where I died and the round ended. But, like, overall, it was a really good run, and I got pretty close to beating it. I haven't beaten it yet. I would like to do a video on the game itself again that isn't like a review of just playing it. And I really hope that in the future, when this game comes out, of course, that it comes out and it has workshop, because I feel like workshop or even Thunderstore capabilities could really amplify this game to like really exemplary levels of like game status. Like, to have mods and community built things for this game would make this a really great opportunity. Like I said, this game is called Gambonanza, and it is the demo's out on Steam, able to wishlist it now. And in my personal opinion, I give it around like an 8 out of 10. It's not quite perfect, but I'm really enjoying it, and I'm excited to see where this goes. Thank you for stopping by. Please wishlist the game, support the developer. This is great, and have a good day.